Hi, everybody. So today we're in the gym, so that means no shirt, no cat. But don't worry, both will be back next week. I want to follow up on the last podcast about anxiety and lactate. There is something at play there that I find interesting and an idea that I want to explore with you. I can't prove yet what I'm going to talk about, or at least I'm not sure exactly where what I'm going to talk about comes from. It is there. I just don't know where it comes from. But because I can't find the literature on that specific subject, there seems to be none. So what's going to happen is we're going to do our own study on the subject. Like I have Harpa out of Iceland who has been testing the levels of lactate of people associated with VO2 max to see what the fight mode versus flight, and all of that is being so studied with about like 80 participants. So we're going to get some good data out of that. There is an interesting idea that I want to talk about. So in the last podcast, I was talking about two of my coaches that are walking around at above a 6.0 on so millimoles, the lactate levels in the blood at rest. Right. The body seems to really, really not like high levels of lactate at rest. Like for example, anybody it's been proven, I have many studies on this on the Volt, that anybody who's anxious, if you give them lactate, so the solutions for that, right? They go straight into a panic mode. So that becomes interesting because that kind of begs the question of what is panic exactly. So all this seems to relate to the sympathetic side of the equation. When you go too far toward the sympathetic side, you're going to have a dysregulation of the system. So that's the switch from fight to flight. That is what we see with what is called the anaerobic threshold. There is no such thing as anaerobic threshold because lactate is not produced anaerobically. It's produced aerobically or anaerobically. It's produced anyway. And since it is not a waste product, there is no such thing as the anaerobic threshold. That being said, when you measure the blood with lactate, you do see that moment of a spike. This is a defense mechanism, for evolutionary reason, which means the fuel is being pumped to very, very high levels. So there's a play there that is interesting. When you have high levels of lactate, for example, the fuel will switch from being fat-based first to our lipolysis, which actually produces more ATP than glycolysis, other subject. So you have that low-level effort, usually that is being done through lipolysis. The heart uses fat as fuel at the low levels. And there is always that moment where we switch to lactate. Lactate being the best fuel that there is, right? And lactate will be used as a fuel whenever the sympathetic levels need to reach a certain level, right? And when they reach a level that is very, very high in that dysregulation almost levels, then you see a spike of lactate and everybody goes like full sympathetic all the way to the crash, flight, freeze, and all that stuff. So there's a play there between lipolysis versus glycolysis, right? It seems to relate to the levels of sympathetic activation that I need to do. That is being based on the environment, obviously. Whenever the lactate is in the body at rest, is where the body seems to have an issue with, which would make sense since the lactate is supposed to be used in a high sympathetic state. If you have high levels of lactate at rest, you're kind of violating the prediction versus observation thing because you have high levels of lactate that indicate a high sympathetic response, even though you're at rest and therefore not in a high sympathetic state. So, is the body hating the high levels of lactate because of a somatic error? Is that what this means? Is the body afraid of a dysregulation of the system because the somatic error is too large? Is that what is happening? Maybe. There's also another thing we started to look at with Dr. Ed that we find interesting. We know that at a certain level of lactate in the blood, the brain-blood barrier opens up. So, understand how this works. The brain is dissociated from the body, not true, but you see what I mean, from the body through the brain-blood barrier, which means it does not let certain things enter. For example, it does not let the lactate enter the brain. The brain produces its own lactate through the astrocyte and uses lactate as fuel, but its own fuel that it produces. There is a moment where the lactate is generated in the body to a certain level, right, where that blood-brain barrier lets the lactate get in. So at that moment, the lactate is flushing the brain with fuel, which would make sense in a highly sympathetic situation. We've also seen that high levels of lactate in the brain, if you add more and more and more, lead to a panic state. We are looking at the panic state versus acidity of the brain. Now, it's not to say that levels of lactate raise acidity, because hyperlactatemia does not indicate a higher acidity of the area. So there's many complications there. That's why this is so tricky. But a simple idea would be that if I walk around at rest with high levels of lactate, I open the blood-brain barrier that flushes my brain with the lactate. Is that what causes that crazy anxiety level of panic state in the people in that case? So you could see what the problem could be. I go to the office, or I have an environment that leads me to believe that I am in a constant level of threat, right? Prediction level, not observation, right? It might not be true. And the problem comes that it is not true, but that's what the prediction system is. Therefore, I pump the lactate levels to the point that it opens up the blood-brain barrier, bringing all that fuel into the brain. So now I have a brain that is not using that fuel and the body is not using that fuel. Why? Because there is nothing to use it against, since that idea of a threat was a prediction, was an idea, but that never actually materialized. So now you end up with very high levels of lactate in the brain that, because it's not being used, could be an issue. Is that what creates panic? Is that what creates other issues? And by having such levels of lactate all the time, I also stop using fat as fuel. So that means that I have a high level of fuel for the body, but a lower level of ATP being produced, because I don't produce as much ATP through glycolysis than I do through lipolysis. Is that where the play is here? There is a play, I know that. And so moving forward, what we're going to try to do is to see exactly if that level of lactate in the blood at rest could have a physiological impact, right, on your brain. So in that sense, that if you keep creating that idea of a threat that is not being materialized, right, if you have, and with a body that does not know how to use lactate as fuel properly, that you end up with such a high level of lactate at rest that it opens the blood-brain barrier that leads to constant panic attack. Would that make sense from a physiological perspective, right? And so that's what we're working on. And so the idea would be that to stop being in that panic state, I need to do two things. First of all, I need to stop seeing my environment as a constant threat. That's the prediction model, but also on the observation side, which means I am pumping the lactate past certain levels that lead to a panic state. How do I do that? I need to not produce lactate. What I need to do is to learn to use lactate as fuel better, more efficiently. So in that case, that's not the Disney December necessarily, but that's steady cardio, where I develop an aerobic capacity. I develop my VO2 max levels so that I can oxidize that lactate to turn it as fuel. So then we go back to those levels of lactate versus pyruvate. Like, it gets more complex from there. And you don't need to know all this. This is the work I'll do in the background. But I'm starting to develop that idea that high levels of lactate at rest in the body not being used will lead to an aggression on the brain, leading to panic attack, if you want. And so again, that is not to be passive and say, let's remove lactate. No, let's not remove lactate. Let's use lactate better. So that means that there would be a relationship between your level of lactate at rest and your VO2 max that would lead to crippling anxiety and constant panic attacks. So that would mean that, as usual, exercise would be the best form against panic attack. But I'm starting to think and see that there is almost like a formula there of lower VO2 max, right, versus higher levels of lactate in the blood, leading to panic attack from a physiological perspective, because that would be a direct aggression onto the brain, right? So that means that using like spiking training, like those constant sprints without having a high enough VO2 max, will lead to a direct issue there. So, which is interesting because that goes back to that arch VLA max, VO2 max that I keep talking about, right? So levels of lactate at rest versus VO2 max equals anxiety all the way up to panic attack. There might be a formula there that shows us where the panic attack stress, so that the debilitating anxiety that people suffer from, right, would be almost like, not solvable, but an equation, lactate at rest versus VO2 max. And so that would tell us what we need to address first. So again, not in a passive way, because if you keep seeing the world as a threat, you will always have high levels of lactate, which is bad for you anyway. So the prediction has to be addressed, but the observation is also part of it, which means your VO2 max is too low to deal with a world where you feel constantly threatened, right? So there would be that thing of lactate at rest versus VO2 max, which would lead us to a certain number. And anything past a certain number means crippling anxiety, means panic attack, and things like this. So there might be a formula there that is interesting. The why of the formula will be things that will take us a long time to figure out, and most likely through our own studies of that blood barrier idea versus, because then the gut barrier as well drops when the blood-brain barrier starts to open up. Like there's so many layers to this that you might never be privy to, that will be done in the background. But my idea here is to develop that number, that lactate at rest versus VO2 max, to give us an idea on how to deal with anxiety and the type of exercise that would then therefore be required in order to deal with that. So that's going to be our work toward anxiety for the next, it takes as long as it takes. But I believe there's something there that is primordial, is that back to sympathetic fight versus flight, that there is a level of lactate at rest versus VO2 max that will give us great indication on how to deal with anxiety properly. Again, that is not to take away the work you need to do toward your environment, but there is a physiological aspect as well that we will tackle this way. Thank you, guys.